Hello everyone, in this lesson we're going to be reviewing patterns, relationships, and functions. The CSET multiple subjects subtest 2 will expect us to recognize patterns, describe relationships between quantities, and understand what makes a relation a function. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and start by talking about relationships. A relationship describes how two quantities are connected. So for example, imagine you're earning $10 per hour. The number of hours you work determines how much money you earn. So if you work 1 hour, this will be $10. If you work 2 hours, you'll earn $20, and so on. As the number of hours increases, the amount of money earned increases in a predictable way. And this is one example of a relationship between two variables. Relationships are going to be represented using tables, graphs, equations, or verbal descriptions. And on the CSET, you may be asked to interpret any of these kinds of representations. A special type of relationship is called a function. And a function is a rule in which each input has exactly one output. Let me write that out. For example, suppose we define the rule multiply the input by 2. If the input is 3, the output is 6. If the input is 5, the output is 10. Every input produces one and only one output. So this is an example of a function. However, if your input can produce multiple outputs, that is no longer considered a function. For example, if your input was 4 and it gave you both 8 and 10, then this would violate the definition of a function. So on the exam, I can imagine them maybe giving you a chart of inputs and outputs. If you see that each input has exactly one output, that is a function. Otherwise, it's not. One very common misconception is believing that different inputs cannot have the same output, which sounds really confusing, but it's actually okay. Let me give you an example. If a function assigns 2 to 6 and 3 to 6, this is perfectly okay. This is because each input still has only one output. Our example earlier was when we had one input giving different outputs. So to summarize, let's remember these two key ideas. Relationships describe how two quantities are connected, and a function is a special type of relationship in which every input has exactly one output. Understanding these ideas is going to lay the foundation for equations, graphing, and a lot of the more advanced algebraic thinking that you'll encounter on the CSET. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.